Let's begin by gently turning inwards about our awareness, approaching our inner world with compassion and curiosity. So find a comfortable position, allow your body to relax naturally. If you're comfortable doing so, you can softly close your eyes and take a deep breath slowly in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth, noticing the easy settling within your body. As you continue breathing naturally, allow yourself to observe any emotions, sensations, or fears that arise without judgment or resistance. Notice these experiences simply as messages from within, protective parts of you seeking acknowledgement and understanding. And with every inhale, just offer compassion to those inner voices of fear. And with every exhale, allow space for deeper understanding and openness to change. Gently recognize that fears have served to protect you, but now you're choosing to engage with them differently, inviting clarity, courage, curiosity into this moment. Feel yourself softly opening to the possibilities, knowing that wisdom comes from exploring these inner landscapes with kindness. Take one more deep breath, feeling grounded and open. And slowly exhale, welcoming a calm readiness for whatever insight this session may reveal. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes, carrying this compassion awareness forward into our session today. So our session actually came from all the Q&As and everything, and we are fundamentally focusing on fear. So stop letting fear win or embrace change from within. And so what we'll do is we'll try and go into a little bit of roots of fear-based resistance. Just make you aware of what is the cost of letting fear dominate your landscape, inner landscape, and then what means moving ahead beyond fear. And then we'll prepare for an IFS session, internal family system. If you have not been here with that, don't worry. It's a very simple inquiry, and just follow that. And then we will follow it up with a tuning fork, whatever time remains. And then at the end of the hour, we will open up for Q&A or any individual questions or needs that may be there. Let's go. So fear as a protection. Now, fear-based resistance is not the enemy. It's actually a survival strategy. Over years, I've witnessed in so many of people I work with that fear arises as a protective mechanism. It emerges to prevent emotional harm by keeping them from taking risks that once led to the pain or rejection or shame in the beginning. So these internal defenses often whisper something like, stay small, stay quiet, stay safe. There was a client who longed to share their writing, wanted to write a book, but was never able to piece it together and put it, actually wrote everything, but could not actually get to publish it. So we're working with the guy. So we came across that as a kid, he was mocked by his brother, his siblings, and then at school he was bullied. And the fear which once shielded them from the ridicule that happened actually muted his voice, and it he was paranoiac of putting his book out, and that's what we worked with. And normally fears begin very early. Of course, I think we with this work we know that many of these fears trace back to the formative relationships or years when a child authenticity is met with criticism, emotional neglect, or dismissal. They unconsciously learn that being real is dangerous. And to maintain connection, what they do is they abandon parts of themselves. And these compromises creates an inner split. On one side, there's a longing to be true, and then on the other side is the terror of the consequence to be true. So there was a person I worked with who had, when we were doing recovery of the exile, the younger self, whenever he expressed sadness as a child, he was told to toughen up. As an adult, he avoided vulnerability, even in close relationships, because expressing emotion felt unsafe, as though love might be withdrawn if he expresses. And he didn't let his guard down, even with somebody who was his wife of 20 years. That is how strong the fear was holding him. Trauma, whether acute or developmental, sensitizes the nervous system to threat. People may react strongly to seeming minor challenges, not because they're fragile, but because their system has been shaped by environments where survival meant being hyper aware of danger. Fear becomes encoded not just in thought, but also in the body. When I was 6 years old, I saw a black dog jump out of a car and come and bite my mom very viciously. And for a long time, for almost 30 years of my life, I was never able to go near a car with a dog. Or whenever I would see a black dog, as a young kid, I used to cry and scream, actually scream. And what was happening to me was a freezing because my nervous system remembers the scene of the dog viciously attacking my mom. And that was as a threat of my survival because he was attacking my mom and mom was my protection. So my survival was at risk. So that's what my nervous system noted and kept it. So people often develop powerful avoidance strategies that reduce anxiety in the short term, but it actually reinforces fear long term. They stay in that roles, relationships or situations or routines that may feel safe but unfulfilling. These patterns often masquerade as being realistic or playing it safe, when in truth they fear wearing a mask of logic. So one client I used to work, she delayed launching a business for years. I was doing coaching with the mentoring with her, and she convinced herself that the timing was right. Every time was timing was right, but the underlying delay was a fear of failure rooted in childhood experience of not being good enough. Actually, she used to hear critical father always ringing in her ears, and the avoidance offered temporary relief, but actually made her feel regret and stagnation. So fear-based resistance is not irrational or weak. It is actually adaptive. It forms in response to past experience that taught the nervous system what was dangerous, but once protected, now imprisons. By bringing compassionate awareness to those old patterns and the stories behind them, people begin to loosen fear's grip. And this creates a space for actions guided not by avoidance, but by clarity, courage, and authenticity. So there is a cost of letting go fear, because if you let fear dominate, there's a cost you pay. Many of you know this already, that fear doesn't show up to sabotage you. Okay? In the work that we do with IFS, you see that it shows up to protect you. At some point of your life, fear stepped in like a caretaker. It learned that staying small, avoiding risk, keeping quiet could keep you safe. And perhaps for a while that was true. But over time, what protected you became what limits you. So fear that was once a shield now becomes a wall. And it keeps dangers out, of course, but it also keeps you in. Okay, you may have found yourself wanting to express something in a meeting or in a relationship or even in your art form, but something inside says, don't, it's not safe. And you hold back. It feels safer in the moment, but afterwards you feel invisible, frustrated, or even like you have betrayed something true inside of you. And when fear consistently blocks action, it begins to erode person's self-worth. Not only do you question your ability, but you start to question your values. And each avoidance sends an internal message: I can't handle this, you can't handle this. And this belief doesn't arise from weakness, but from survival instinct. And one of the deeper costs of fear-based living is the quiet disconnection from your authentic self. Because fear teaches you to filter, to stay safe, to show only what others will accept. But when you're habitual edit, when you continuously habitually edit yourself, it becomes harder even to know what is real you. And you can lose touch with your own needs, your own voice, and your own aliveness. That's when people say, I'm lost, I'm stuck, I don't know what I want, I don't know where I want to go. And finally, fear, the longer fear dominates, the smaller life becomes. And opportunities are lost or not seized, and dreams are postponed, conversations are avoided. And over time, what's lost is not just potential, but its vitality, its creativity, and also joy. You might look back on a moment and think, what if I had tried? What if I hadn't let fear stop me? That ache you feel is not about success or failure. It's about lost connection to who you might have become if fear hadn't held steering wheel. In people I coach for career, this is one of the themes that comes up. Keeping myself small to feel safe. So letting fear lead your life may feel safe, but the cost is steep. And a life lived smaller than what your soul came here to live. So today is about recognizing that cost within yourself, not to blame, but with compassion. Because the moment you see the cost clearly, you may begin to reclaim your choice to move forward, and not with fear, without fear, but with self-led courage in spite of the fear. So now, the thing is that awareness is the key turning point, and we have said it in every aspect of the work we do, is once we recognize that fear isn't who we are, but something we carry, something that formed to protect me, it creates a turning point. In that awareness, we begin to reclaim choice. When you begin to notice the fear voice in you saying, don't do that, it is not safe. If you accept not to obey it automatically, you can listen to it, still pause to ask, is that still true? Is that fear speaking from today or from a younger version of me? And that space between reaction and reflection is where freedom begins. The idea that we must get rid of fear in order to act is a myth. Fear doesn't vanish, but it can loosen its grips when it feels understood. I've learned to stop trying to silence fear, instead to relate to it. To say to that voice inside of me, I see you, I know you're trying to protect me, but I want to try this anyway. Are you going to support me? So when we stop resisting fear and start witnessing it, something shifts. We begin leading from a deeper place, not from fear's urgency, but from a calm of your presence. That's where curiosity and compassion comes into place. Moving beyond fear doesn't require grand dramatic gesture. In fact, the most powerful transformation comes from small acts of bravery. One honest conversation, one boundary spoken, one dream written down, even if no one sees it yet. Every time you move forward, what matters, even a little, just a little, you're showing your nervous system that your inner world and there is something new that is possible. So you begin to restore trust in your own capacity. If you look at the work we do here, that's exactly what we do. We just do that simple inquiry. I remember once sending a message to someone I deeply respected, asking for mentorship. I deleted it many times. And there was a fear. They will ignore you. You will sound foolish. But then I remember I paused, breathed, and sent it anyway. And I got a beautiful response. So the one small risk shifted within me. And it wasn't just a reply. It was a message that I sent to myself. I allowed to take up space. I can survive with uncertainty. I had similar experience when I went through my surgery. Exactly the same. When fear is in charge, the question we unconsciously live by is, how do I stay safe? But when we begin to move beyond fear, a new question starts to emerge. What would I choose if I believed I was safe enough? What would I choose if I believed I was safe enough? And that question opens up so many possibilities. And those possibilities are not dictated by anxiety, avoidance, or old pain, but by purpose, by presence and connection. So moving beyond fear doesn't mean erasing fear. It means no longer letting it dictate who you are or what's possible. It begins with awareness, of course. It deepens through compassion, and it strengthens through small, intentional steps towards what matters to you. So today we are going to do that. We are going to go to an inner place where fear can be seen, heard, gently softened, so that something deeper, wiser, and more live may begin to lead, okay, which is a path inwards. Okay, so that's what we are going to do. So I sent to you two questions. What specific fear, if at all, within you is currently preventing you from embracing change in your life? Something you want to do, and which it's preventing you from. And what change or opportunity in your life feels blocked because of fear? So it's the same question but asked in two different ways. Okay. So see what comes up for you. And if you want, you can write it down, and then we start to go deeper into that. Okay, so see if you can find yourself a comfortable position. Gently allow your body to settle with ease. And you can always open your eyes, write down if something comes up in between or towards the end. So just see if you can begin by centering yourself with your breath. Take a deep, slow inhale through your nose and exhale fully through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And let every inhale, exhale ground you here. Now imagine a safe, calming space, a place where that feels deeply nourishing for you. It might be a quiet place, a specific one. It can be a person. It could be an event, something in your past. Let your imagination take you there. A person, a place, or an event where you feel safe and nourishing. Let yourself feel the safety, warmth, and peacefulness of this space. And let your body settle into the felt sense of being protected, grounded, and supported. Now, from this place of safety, gently bring to mind a fear that has been holding you back, something you just thought about. Noticing that it doesn't mean inviting overwhelm, just allow it to show itself softly. And it is something that is preventing you from embracing change in your life. And just allowing anything that wants to arise to gently surface. It may be an image, it may be a sensation, a memory. And let your awareness rest with this, whether it's an image, or a memory, or a sensation in your body. Notice what your body feels. Where do you feel it in your body? And see if you can gently focus your attention towards that area of your body where you feel that sensation as you think about that fear or that thing which is preventing you from moving forward. And just notice your emotion. What feeling do you have as you connect to that and as you connect to this area in your body? Or you connect to an image. Just notice your emotions. What do you feel? And see if you can breathe into that area in your body where you feel that sensation. And just gently turn your attention towards this area of your body where you feel it as you think about the fear. And just see if you can ask yourself that I'm going to have some conversation, but with curiosity. And and not judgment. So see if you can become curious of what it wants you to be aware of at a deeper level. And if there's conflicting voices coming, you can always ask this conflicting voice to say, oh, can you just step aside? Let me focus my attention to this sensation which is attached to the fear I'm focusing today. So allow it to create space for you to do your inquiry. Now ask a curious question. What do you want me to know about yourself? Why you're here? What is your intention for me? And just notice what comes back to you. So you are inquiring to the sensation in your body, asking, what do you intend for me? What do you want for me? So whatever comes up, see if you can acknowledge that. And ask a follow-up question. So I'm curious to know, what are you protecting me from? Or what are you afraid will happen to me? Ask a follow-up question. What is that biggest fear that you have for me? That you are trying to protect me from? What is that big fear? Ask, does that make sense? If it does, see if you can acknowledge, okay, that's your big fear for me. I understand that. And ask a follow-up question saying, do you feel that you are understood and appreciated by me? Whatever is the answer is how it feels, so just take it on the face value and ask a follow-up question. What is the impact you actually have on me and other people in my life? So how do you impact my day-to-day life, mine and the people around me? See if you can acknowledge what you heard. And notice how you feel there. Do you feel compassion? Stay with that feeling of compassion towards this part of you and ask a question saying, when did you first show up in my life playing this role for me? How old was I when you started to play this role, and what was happening then in my life? Allow it to show you when it began, what was going on then, and stay compassionate and curious. Let the answers come in their own time, even if they're subtle or unclear. Simply being with this part with kindness is healing. And if there are any internal voices emerge that are critic or that are judgmental, you can gently ask them to step aside for now. Let them know you're not pushing them away, but you're just creating space to listen more deeply. Now ask to this part, this sensation in your body, what would you feel safe enough to let go or to loosen your grip? What would help you to feel safe enough to let go or loosen your grip? And ask a follow-up question. What do you need from me so you don't have to carry this burden alone anymore? See what you get as an answer. What do you need from me so you don't have to carry this burden alone anymore? As you listen, Acknowledge this part with gratitude. Thank it for trying to protect you. Even if its methods are outdated or no longer helpful, let it know that you recognize its effort and that you are here now, willing to stay in relation with it. And see if it can give you its name. Ask it, how can I call you? What name should I call you with? Any name. So that I can keep in touch with you and stay connected with you. So take note of the name that comes up. And let it know that you are going to be in touch with it every day. Continue to hear more from it. And when you feel ready, just take a couple of deep breaths. Slowly come back to the present moment. Feel the ground beneath you. And when it feels okay, you can just gently open your eyes and see if you want to take note of whatever came back to you while I prepare for the tuning forks. Okay, so we will begin with the tuning fork. Just to say, if you have not been here before for the tuning fork session, so first disclaimer, if you're receiving chemotherapy and had a head injury or you're sensitive to sound, either lower your volume or disconnect. So the way we work with the tuning fork or the sound healing is we have this, so you think of this as your vortex. So this is your, and so we have a north pole, which is top of the head, south pole below your feet. And to work through the biofield, what we do is we open the two centers below the feet and top of the head, so that the core, which is your backbone, everything is open. And then we get into the field, which is left side or right side, and try to start to come from the end of the field, which is your time of conception, and then go inside till the present moment. And with every time that comes in, I will tell you an age, I will tell you what is going on, what comes up as an emotion or things that you have to release. So see whatever comes up for you, and you do that. Just follow through that and let your body follow that. One other thing with the tuning forks is breathing, which allows the processing of whatever comes up. So how you breathe is a little bit specific. You take your breath through your nose, and then you breathe out through your mouth forcefully. So imagine that when you breathe in, you're breathing from top of your head into your chest. You're breathing, filling up your chest, and then when you breathe out, you're breathing through your feet. So it's a way to ground and to let it process, okay? And there could be some time when the energy is high, I will tell you something like, and you release, you follow, okay? So my video will be off, but you will now hear me, okay? And we will start at the bottom of the feet, and then we go to the top of the head, and then into the field, left or right. Okay, so here we go. We are going to open the center below the feet using 144 Hertz. So now I'm below your feet. I'm pointing the tuning fork up your spinal cord to the top of your head. So take a breath and let yourself ground. Okay, so there is a bit of anxiety in the middle of a second center in your stomach, belly area. So just breathe into the belly area. Breathe. Okay, so I'm going to ground, so take a breath. So now we're going to go to the top of the head and open the link, this time to the divine, to the energy above. Take a breath. So now I'm pointing the tuning fork on top of your head. And opening the channel from the top of the head right through the feet into Mother Earth. Okay, so that opens up. So take a breath. Okay, so now I'm going to run a pendulum. You don't see it, but I'm going to run from your feet to the top of your head, just to know which area we are going to work today, based on all of you who are present. What is that you're working with? Okay, so it comes to solar plexus, which is the third center. Yeah. Okay, I will come back to this one and saying left side. Okay, so this is about powerlessness. Interesting. And relationship with mother or mother-like figures. So I'm going to start at the point of when you were conceived. So we'll start from there, and then we'll go in and go through the different process. Okay, and I will tell you what comes up as we connect to different ages and different timelines for you. Okay, so we're going to start, and I'm changing the tuning fork, is now 174 hertz. So we are starting from below, from the point of conception. So I'm about 6 feet on the left side of your solar plexus. Okay, that's the edge. Okay, yeah, there's already pressure in the head. It just said father energy, or even, yeah, divine energy. So you are at the point of your conception, and there's a lot of anxiety attached to father at the time of conception. Even it's saying concept of God. if that makes sense. Yeah. And it was actually affecting the heart of feeling loved. So stay with that. So this is when you were coming into the world. There is anxiety linked to father or father-like figure, God even, which affected the heart or feeling loved. So it's asking me for you to take a deep breath and then release. Okay, so you're going to do something like, okay. So the ache in the heart remains. So focus in your heart, in your chest area. And whatever that ache for love is, see if you can just acknowledge it. And again, okay, I'm going to change the tuning focus. It's asking me everyone to focus on your heart and on feeling being loved. Just that sensation. Accepted as you are. You don't hear this tuning fork. What is this to release? Yeah, good. Huh. It's asking me for each of you to please tell to that little soul that is just brought in something that you want to say to it. Verbalize it, please. So you can say it loud if you want to, but at least see if you can verbalize a message to the newborn that is this new soul which has just come in, conceptualized, that will become you. A message, something that is nourishing, that is loving. Okay, there it goes. Asking me to keep speaking. Stay with that for a moment. Okay. And take a deep breath in. Okay, so I am about 15 years old now. And it's showing me a lot of anxiety. There's a 15-year-old. Yeah, it's about identity. Who am I? Anxiety about who you are. So see if that makes sense. 15-year-old, 16, 15, 16. And just see if you can breathe into that sensation. So this is about 15 years ago. So if you do minus 15, so 2010. See if that brings something up for you. It's again about identity and feeling of powerlessness. Linked to mother or not, but there's a lot of heaviness around that. See if that helps. So I'm now coming to your mother zone. So this is what you brought in, what your mother went through that you brought in into your field. Stay with that. And see if you can send love and understanding toward your mother, what she went through in her as she was growing up, her life. Okay, so now I'm on top of your solar plexus. Whatever came up, we are going to release it out. Okay, we'll wrap it up. Just take a deep breath in. Let the process continue for the next 72 hours. I'm going to just wrap you up with 528 hertz. Now take a moment to settle into stillness. Continue to play specific frequency, sound. Let your breath deepen, soften. Notice the subtle shifts within you, the sensation, the stillness, or any spaciousness that I have opened up. And let this moment be a gentle landing, a space where what has arrived can now settle, where insight becomes wisdom and energy becomes intention. You don't need to hold on to anything. Just trust that what is meant to stay will stay, and what is meant to leave is already dissolving. Feel your feet grounding to the earth, your breath connecting to life, and your heart reminding that you are safe, awake, and whole. When you feel ready, you can start to simply come back to the present moment. Start to open your eyes, carrying with you the clarity, strength, spaciousness. Let it walk with you. Welcome back.